Welcome to Ayush TV. In this episode, we will be talking about trade fundamentals, which is an essential topic, specifically focusing on the export and import practices. Today, we have with us Dr. Mohan Diwan, who is an expert in international trade and intellectual property rights. Welcome, Dr. Diwan.
Thank you, Muskan.
So, Dr. Diwan, let's start with an overview of international trade practices specific to the Ayush sector and what the businesses and specifically the new businesses should be aware of.
Firstly, they should be aware of one thing, that this is probably one of the most important sectors now booming in the international trade. We have called it Ayush sector, but Ayush sector is a heterogeneous sector which includes wellness, fitness, medicines, pharmaceutical drugs. The basic principles of, for example, even yoga is a part of this sector. So it is becoming probably the most critical sector and the most important sector, and it encompasses approximately over $400 billion. I'll speak of in terms of dollars, as far as in international trade is concerned. And firstly, they must be proud of that they are part of such a booming sector. All right. Next, as far as when it comes to intellectual property, there is the basic principle is territoriality, which means what entrepreneurs in India do not realize, and they have come to realize bitterly, that international trade, when it comes to international trade, protection basically in India will not do. You must protect your patents, trademarks, designs internationally. If you at all are looking at international trade, India is a big market. I mean it is the most populous country in the world, and therefore you just sometimes satisfying international the Indian market is sufficient. But if you are looking at international trade, then you must protect your trademark, you must protect your invention, you must protect your design at an international level. And that is something that it is a rude awakening sometimes, that you haven't protected your trademark, you haven't protected your IP outside India, and then you are faced with challenges of competitors. You are faced with challenges of imposters. You are faced with challenges of Me Too brands coming up in those countries outside India, and you can do nothing about it because you have not protected it. So this is when it comes to international trade, we are both ways. I just had an issue yesterday. There was a person who had put there is a symbol R. They were importing a product into India, and the product had an R on it, which means it was registered in that country. It was registered, for example, in the US. But when it came into India, the mark was not protected. Now that becomes a criminal offense in India, because you are now when the product is imported into India and there is an R on that product, then and it's not registered in India, that becomes a criminal offense. Now, these are the precautions that have to be taken when we enter into the international space of either exporting your product outside India or importing a product into India. In both of these kind of trades, one has to look out for the fact that this product has been protected, and the product has been in either of the two spaces: import or export. All right.
Okay. So the gist of it is, if you are planning to go international, first protect your trademark and patent, right?
Yes, but also see that if you are importing a product, then whether that product does it violate some sort of a trademark or a patent in India. Number one, if there are these kind of if it has been protected in that country and there are some markings which say that it has been protected in that country, you must ensure that it is protected in India as well.
So, Dr. Diwan, what are the opportunities for Ayush products in international markets, specifically Indian Ayush products?
India as a country is slowly and but surely becoming an extremely respected country for technology, for wellness, for fitness, what we call Ayush products. And there is a vacuum. I can see that there is a vacuum for these products overseas. And I think from satisfying the market in this country, Ayush manufacturers in this sector must ensure that they move into countries where they have great potential. For example, they have not looked at Africa. They look traditionally. Most Ayush manufacturers are looking at US or Europe. They have not considered the various countries in South America, for example, in Africa. There is great potential for these products, but while there is potential, there must be protection. Protection must come first. Once protection happens, then you need to move into these spaces, because there is great potential for Ayush manufacturers. Protect and then sell. That is that should be the motto for Ayush manufacturers in these countries. What is important is also appointing proper distributors. The maximum number of violation cases I've seen for manufacturers of Ayush products, even something like agarbattis. The distributors are the major threats. Ex-distributors are the major threats for Ayush manufacturers, because the minute you start talking, you have inquiries. You attend to inquiries, and the distributors there protect the trademark or protect the designs, protect labels, protect so that the manufacturer must protect these IPs first before entering into these countries. Opportunity is there, but protection must come first.
Yes.
Right.
So the gist is get protection and then plunge into a new market.
Yes.
So, Dr. Diwan, what are the challenges that Ayush businesses face in the global trade?
The first challenge, and probably the most critical challenge, is regulatory. Each country has its own regulations. For example, Europe has very strict regulations on how preservatives are used, and they must understand the Ayush industry must understand that when they are going global, they must satisfy the regulatory aspects first. After they have satisfied the regulatory aspects with their products, their packaging, their ingredients, their methods of manufacture, have to satisfy a particular standard for that country, for that jurisdiction. Now, once they have satisfied that aspect, once that aspect is clear, then they must satisfy the IP, the intellectual property part, that they protected their patents, their inventions are they protected there, the trademarks are they protected in that jurisdiction. If it is designs, whether the designs of their packaging has been protected or not. So this aspect has to be also taken care of. Now, having done these two, regulatory has been taken care of, protection has been taken care of, IP protection has been taken care of. Then they must see that their distribution cycles, their product cycles, the people that are involved, the budgeting that has been done, whether they are able to satisfy that these aspects. Give you a very classic example of how, without taking care of this aspect, a complete international trade can come to a halt, and the local entity suffers. This was just picture yourself 14th of February, France. Roses are being exported. The business did everything. The local business did everything to protect itself. And the roses reached in time around 12th or so of February in France. Immediately thereafter, there was this aspect of a plant variety. A French competitor had a plant variety protection for that particular rose.
Oh.
Now, on the 12th of February, the roses landed in France, and the plant variety holder for that particular rose filed an action at the customs authority, and these roses were not allowed to enter into France. 14th of February happened, and probably the company that was able to satisfy the customs authority that their roses did not meet that plant variety registration. But after 14th of February, the roses that entered into France did not have any value. Now, had the company taken steps to ensure that their own roses had some protection in that country, this would not have happened, because once they missed Valentine's Day, their roses did not have that commercial value, and even though the roses were saleable, they had missed that opportunity because of not protecting their intellectual property right in time in that country. So this is I just gave you an example of what could be a practical challenge that companies or entities in the Ayush sector can face in global trade. Right?
Correct. That actually is insightful, and how timing matters. You've just explained correctly.
Yes.
So, Dr. Diwan, can you recommend a few practices for businesses who are planning to enter the global market?
My field is intellectual property. So I can only tell you practices that relate to intellectual property. Firstly, packaging. Packaging that would be useful for in the Indian market. Labeling, the labels that are needed, the kind of the designs that are needed for the Indian market may not be suitable for their international market. Language is an important criteria. You will need to have proper labeling in that language, in the language that you are going, and protecting of those brands. I can give you an example of the reverse. Somebody came out with a brand was ULTI. Now, such a brand in when it comes to India, the same would apply overseas. I'm just giving an example of a reverse brand. Now, in India, Ulti could be pronounced as Ulti. Now, if it is pronounced as Ulti, it would not be such a good brand useful for the Indian market. Similarly, when you are going to use brand names, we'll have to see that brand name in that country is not an embarrassing word. Many Indian brands have been in the Ayurveda sector using brands have been embarrassed overseas because the brand is just not suitable. So sometimes you may need to use a different brand. You may need to have a different look and feel. You may have to have a different color. For example, the color green has now been restricted, or represents a particular sect, or a particular group of people. When if you're selling it in a different country, one would not use the word green labeling in that particular country. Even different words, different as I said, preservatives that or the methods of manufacture that are practiced in India may not be suitable in that particular country. Now, a large aspect is also educating your market. This is how it is useful. This is how the product is different, and it is not toxic, or it is not harmful. Uh, these are some of the challenges. There are many more, but in the short time available, I can only discuss some of these aspects for the Ayush sector.
I think these are actually very key challenges.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Devan, how important is documentation in the export and import business? Plus, what are the key documentations that we need to prepare?
I can only speak again as far as IP is concerned. And maintaining your invoices, maintaining your inquiries, and maintaining sales documentation is probably a key set of documents that you need, because these documents have dates, and they also document what is the products or the brands that are being sold. In all trademark litigation that we have had uh, across countries, across jurisdictions, it is these invoices that have played a major role or cardinal role in defending trademark infringement proceedings, trademark actions, or defense proceedings. We need these basic documents when it comes to trademark litigation. When it comes to patent litigation, or it comes to patent enforcement, the sales of documents, the sales of products, the methods by which we have made the made products, or where the businesses have made these products. These are important pieces of documents, which in a court of law, when they are produced, they can either win or lose a case. You can win cases based on this particular documentation. Of course, there are for regulatory purposes, there are lots of documents that need to be maintained, and I would not be able to speak about those kind of documents that are needed to be maintained. But when it comes to in IP, the documents that are needed would be methods of manufacture, methods by which you are selling. These particular documents are extremely important for IP enforcement, in aspects of IP enforcement, customs enforcement across borders. When you are transacting across borders, the maintenance of these documents are extremely important for firstly for IP enforcement, and secondly, when it comes to recovering your dues. If you haven't received your dues, then what documents or what products you have sold, your letters of credit, the documents that clearly manifest what you have transacted. You need to maintain these documents over long periods of time sometimes, because your old invoices, they may not be necessary for tax purposes, but they may be necessary for establishing that you sold your products at a particular point of time in a particular country, or you imported some products at a particular point of time from a particular country, to take action against persons who have been violating your trademarks, violating your designs, or violating your products. So these documents play an important part, and for us, that is the gold. That sometimes is more valuable than the product itself, because documents speak. In a court of law, it is these documents speak much more than words, right?
Right, I too get it. So, Dr. Diwan, can you throw some light on what role international treaties play in supporting the Ayush businesses in international trade?
When it comes to international trade, international treaties have regulated this trade. The buzzword in this century now is sustainability. Carbon footprints, global warming, these are the treaties that surround these, and protection of the biodiversity. These are all now covered by various treaties. For example, there is the Nagoya Protocol, which will now take into effect when it comes to the protection of biodiversities of and traditional knowledge of across countries. The taking of samples, biological samples across jurisdictions. International treaties play an important, very, very important role in protecting, at least what I would say, the developing countries and the least developing countries, or countries that are yet to see the kind of development that has been seen in the West, from being exploited. And that's exactly where these treaties come into place, where now there are biological diversities that are now seen, and these diversities are then protected, so that where these traditional knowledges that are available, they are not exploited by big commerce. That is where our nascent industries, which are now taking leaps into international trade, will see the light, will be able to see the light, this a bright light and bright future, with the protection of these kind of from these treaties, right?
Yeah. So, actually, that was very insightful. I think our viewers will benefit from this.
I hope so.
So, to sum it up, can you give us, are there a few pointers or a few advices you want to give the new businesses in this regards?
I would speak of these Ayush businesses to first consolidate themselves within the country. They must consolidate themselves within the country. And after they have done that, they must then look at vacuum markets outside India. And look at vacuum markets, firstly, towards countries that are more conducive to receiving their products, their processes, their services, rather than looking at established markets or established countries where these markets, it is difficult for them to pierce. My thoughts say that when they're looking at markets, they must look at smaller markets to enter first, and then have a jump into established markets. Before doing that, of course, protect their intellectual property in those markets, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely bang on. Thank you so much, Dr. Diwan, for such insights. I'm sure everybody watching this must be very helpful for the new Ayush businesses. So, here we come to an end of this very insightful episode. Thank you so much. In the next episode, we'll be covering up with a very interesting topic once again. Namaste.